The second text structure we're going to be seeing tonight is sequential order, or we could also call it chronological order. We have seen description text structure. That's where we see the main idea and the details to support it. Sequential order, or chronological order, is the text that gives a specific order of something that happens or must happen. The use of transition words. So we're going to be using transition words, those clue words, to help us identify what type of text structure we're going to be using. And today, we'll be focusing on sequential order. And there are certain specific words that we need to look for to identify that type of text structure. Sequential order, chronological order, can be found with recipes, um, biographies, even just our daily events, just getting up in the morning and doing our step by step order of things. From when you wake up to when you get to school, you're following a chronological or sequential order. So you need to ask yourself, is this piece of writing telling me the order of events? What's happening first, next, finally? Or are they providing us with dates, important dates that we must include and follow, that we can explain what happened first, second, and then last? Well, here's an example of a text structure, a sequential text structure. Soccer is a game that has been played for numerous years. In fact, many people believe that it began in England over 800 years ago. About 200 years ago, in the early 1800s, boys in England played a sport like soccer, but they called it football. However, each school made up their own rules. In 1863, a group of players met and wrote official rules for soccer. Soccer started spreading to other countries. In 1904, an international group called the FIFA formed to make sure that every team around the world followed the same soccer rules. Today, soccer is one of the most popular sports in the world. So, what makes that piece have sequence or structure? Well, we saw some dates and some numbers. Started in England 800 years ago. In the early 1800s, they called it football. Then in 1863, soccer rules were written. And finally, in 1904, World Soccer Group was formed FIFA. So this is type of sequential text structure on the events of how soccer began and what we see today. So here's another type. Yesterday, and look for those red words. Those red words are screaming those clues to help us identify sequential order. Yesterday, my mom decided to prepare her menu for her party next Saturday evening. First, she sat down with her recipe book to list all of the ingredients she would need for her entrees. Next, she called a catering company to order several other dishes. Finally, she went to her china cabinet to get out her formal dinnerware. She then sorted the dishes she would need to use for cooking from the dishes she would use for serving and entertaining. So, if we also look at the sequential order of just making cupcakes, first, Allie mixed together the ingredients. Then, she poured the mixture into a baking pan and put it into the oven. Finally, she decorated her cupcakes. There's another example of the order of just making cupcakes. And a lot of key words we heard were first, to begin with, during, secondly, tomorrow, next, finally, soon, lastly. Those are important key words to look for when we're looking at sequential order. Again, what are the steps in the sequence? What are the order events? Just making a peanut butter and jelly sandwich, you're following sequential order. Just being able to sign on to Fortnite or play a video game. There are order of events in order to do that. Sequence and order are found within text. Using organization and structure, authors share what comes next. Different ordinal terms such as first, second, third are used to describe order, all numeric words. Different sequence words such as then, after, next also communicate order within various texts. Finally, ties up the sequence, sharing events at the end. It describes the last steps, helping us comprehend what happened last. Who's the final event? What completed the plot? What's the ending segment? Using flowcharts and timelines, sequence cycles and chains, the order is recorded with visual supports to explain what was the first step, what followed right after, what happened beforehand, describe the flow of the chapter. So when you're reading stories, poems, or how-tos, look for sequence and structure and the order that is used. There's many different types of text structure graphic organizers you could use. Here's an example of a flowchart. First, second, third, fourth. Another important thing, remember those words and phrases. In the beginning, in the middle, afterwards, finally, at the end. These are perfect clue words to help us come up with sequential order.
Let's talk about a common mistake. Some students don't pay attention to the text structure. They just read the article or read the text and don't think about the choices an author make. Here's our article, Ever Wonder Who Invented Pizza? We have to be detectives and look for clues about the structure the author used. What am I noticing? Well, I see here some dates. It says in the 1700s right there. I see in 1905. If I look a little bit further, I see 1943. And then I see that in the end it seems like we're talking about American pizza today, and it says pizza has come a long way. So this is making me think that this author probably used a time order structure because the events are happening in the order of time. It's going from things a long time ago to the way things are today. I can use the text structure to help me organize what I learned. I could put all of the things that I learned about pizza in the 1700s together, all of the things I learned about pizza in the 1900s together, and all the things I've learned about pizza today together. It helps me put the information into categories based on the structure the author used. So I can try that. Here's what I learned about pizza in the 1700s. It was invented in Italy, not many toppings, and fishermen ate it. Okay, the next time in the text structure was the 1900s, and that's when pizza came to America. It was sold in slices, and deep dish was invented in Chicago. So it went 1700s, 1900s, and then it talked about pizza today, where there are many kinds, and Americans eat billions of slices a year. So I took the text structure, time order, and I used the different sections of that time order text structure to organize the information that I was reading. Here's the steps I followed. 1. Look for text structure clues. 2. Make categories for the information you are learning. In this lesson, you have learned to organize information by using text structure clues.